Hi guys. I wanted to make a response to Avalonmoon's video about working Skyclad. Um, I was a member of a coven for about a year. I posted a video earlier about my coven experience, and in that coven, they did go Skyclad, but excuse me if I'm a bit off, and I just came from work. My brain's tired. But I wanted to make this video before I forget what I wanted to say. So they did do Skyclad in the coven, but all of the rituals weren't Skyclad. And they did ask me before I joined whether or not I would be comfortable doing Skyclad rituals, which I said yes. I was very young at the time. I don't think I was that inhibited, but it was easy for me to say yes. I don't know what it would have been like if I would have actually tried to do it. But it wasn't a mandatory thing. If they were doing a Skyclad ritual and you didn't want to be Skyclad, you just wouldn't show up for that spot or a spot. So they didn't make it a mandatory thing. Okay, so for me, if a coven does make it mandatory, I don't think that I don't think anyone being Skyclad should be a mandatory thing, having to be Skyclad. I mean, it's all about, you know, being open, and really about, finding kind of what works best for you in the craft. So if it's an eclectic group, really, I think that they should give that room. And just for any group, really, I think that there should be that leeway there, because being completely naked in front of a group of strangers is not something that comes easy to a lot of people. And also, I think that you should be able to get to a point, and you should have room to grow to a point where you do feel comfortable with those people, and you do feel comfortable enough to be naked, and comfortable enough so that you trust them, and trust them to see your nakedness, because your nakedness is sacred, and not everyone should be allowed to see that. So if you don't feel comfortable around people, especially if you're new to a coven, they should feel like family before you feel like you can be naked in front of them. And if someone's trying to force you into doing that, even though you don't feel that connection, and you don't feel safe, and you don't feel comfortable, I don't think it's right. It's not right to force anyone into anything. The whole way of Wicca or paganism is following nature, following your heart, following your spirit. So if your spirit tells you that, it's not the right time for you to be Skyclad, or, not now, you shouldn't have to do it, and you shouldn't be forced to do it. And also, if you don't mesh with the people well, being Skyclad, and you're not feeling comfortable, it could take your mind off of what it is you're trying to focus on. You have to be completely open, completely focused in your ritual in order to bring things into being. So if you can't feel that way, and you feel uncomfortable, it defeats the whole purpose of doing a ritual. Me, myself, I've worked Skyclad before alone, never with someone else. I've done one or two rituals with other people that I was Skyclad with, but I was so close to them, I felt like they were a sister, and they were also the same sex as me. And it was done that way because I was indoors, and I wanted to kind of just get rid of as many restrictions as possible and get myself as close to nature as possible. So it would be Skyclad. I was Skyclad. We had all the elements there, and we opened up the windows, and that just made us feel more comfortable and more in tune with the universe being that way. I think if I was with a group of friends, or just someone I felt really comfortable with in a small circle of pagans, I would do Skyclad. Like if I have a friend and we want to do a ritual together, I would do Skyclad with her. I would also do Skyclad out in nature, but it would have to I would have to know that the place is isolated, completely secluded, because obviously you don't want anyone walking in on you like that. And I wrote down my thoughts, which is why I'm looking down here. Yeah. So one thing that the coven did was, one, you had the option to opt out of the ritual if you didn't want to go Skyclad, and two, um, I think that one thing that they did do was wear robes. So when they weren't Skyclad all the time, they wore robes, and there was no clothing worn under the robes. I mean, the robe is made out of natural material. It has, some of them have sacred symbols on them. They're very thin. So I think that that's a perfect way to give leeway to people who don't want to be Skyclad. Just, you know, be naked underneath the robe. That way there'll be way less restrictions, you know, than if you have on your jeans and on whatever else that you're wearing, and all these different clothing and pieces of clothing on your body. And you have something, you put something on that's sacred, just as sacred as you being naked and free. So I think that that also can be an option that can be given to people who don't feel comfortable going Skyclad when they first join a coven. I mean, for people who want to do it, fine. Let them experience the joy of doing it. People who don't feel comfortable doing it, they shouldn't be forced into it. And like I said before, it would defeat the whole purpose of feeling comfortable and feeling at ease, really focusing and tuning with nature. You also have to be, if you don't have a, you also have to be comfortable with yourself. Not only comfortable with the people around you, but with your own body and your own body image. That's why it's comfortable. It's easier. It was easier for me to do Skyclad rituals myself alone, or to do it with someone that was very, very close to me, because I wouldn't really care how they saw my body, or know that they're not judging me, and know that I don't have a stranger's eyes scanning over my body, or someone who, you know, even though there are people in covens, people are in covens, that doesn't mean that there aren't bad people. That doesn't mean that there aren't perverted people. Okay, so you have to make sure that that element is eliminated. And when I was with people that I trusted, I knew that that element was eliminated. So I felt completely comfortable with them, and also completely comfortable with myself and in my own skin, knowing that they weren't going to judge me. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't see anything wrong with going Skyclad. I just think it's those issues, comfortability. I do see something wrong with forcing people, but I don't think I should. If there is a coven like that that requires it, honestly, I would think a bit odd of that coven. So, you know, if there's one out there that requires it and you don't feel comfortable, don't join a coven. Or ask them if you can have the option of opting out of rituals that are Skyclad, or the option of wearing a robe, or wearing something, this is a good idea, or wearing something that is very scantily, I don't know if that's the right word, but very revealing. Like, you can have something on that made like a sacred bathing suit or something like that, you know, with cloth hair, and then a small cloth down here, and then everything else could be free and open. That's just a little bit of restriction. It's not your whole body. Most of your body would be exposed, but your genitalia doesn't have to be exposed, because that can be a big deal for some people. And you know, like my belief is the body is sacred. You have your chakra, your spirit, everything contained within the body, and you just can't let anybody see that, especially people that you are just meeting or you don't feel completely comfortable with or trust. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on this. Yeah, until next time, peace, love, and blessings.